It's been a while, but we're finally back with our market report for Q1 of 2025. So let's talk about what's been happening in the real estate market, what are the trends that we're seeing, and what we can expect moving forward.
So more listings, faster sales, and price steady-ish.
Yeah.
So we're not meteoric anymore.
No, we were. So I think even last year, Newburyport was 15% appreciation in the listings that went on the market. And we're seeing it pretty flat across Essex County, especially in the luxury market. So there was actually, when I looked at the data, a $300,000 difference between average price point last year and the of 1.7 and it's 1.3.
A little bit granular about that.
This is for the whole county. This isn't just for Newburyport.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did a search too, looking at the age of the homes.
Yeah.
And I think part of what is skewing that data is the fact that older homes have been priced high twos, low threes.
Yeah.
And they're just not trading at that price.
No.
And so that skews the market. If you divide it to new construction or newer homes and antique homes, there's a difference.
Yeah. So, there haven't been many antiques that have sold, for example, over $3 million in Newburyport. That's not common to see.
No. The only one that sold was on the water.
What have you been noticing as trends in the Newburyport market? Your listings that have been on, what are you seeing? Are you seeing a resistance? Have you seen a change in buyer sentiment?
Absolutely.
What's happening?
Yeah, I think that, in Newburyport specifically, I think that with the instability of the stock market, that's going to affect our higher-end buyers.
Sure.
And the change in agency is going to affect our younger buyers who don't have money to pay for a commission. So I think that those two things have added to some insecurity.
Yeah.
I do feel that, right now we're about to have a lot of new listings. We're having a lot of new listings.
Yeah, we have a lot of. Yeah.
But let's see what happens with them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I expected spring to be a lot busier than it was. I mean, it has been busy. There are 30% more listings this year than there were last year. So it's not like there's less inventory.
Yeah, and how long have they taken to sell?
Quick. It said on average in Essex County, 27 days less than last year.
What about Newburyport?
Newburyport is longer.
Right. And that speaks to our resistance in this high-end market, because Newburyport now is a high-end market.
Well, and we were talking, right? And we were saying that I think that Newburyport has gotten to this place where people are kind of over the prices going so high, and that they're kind of I'm not going to pay that. That house would have been half that 5 years ago. Why am I paying that much money to live in Newburyport? So I think there's some people are over the sticker shock stuff, and they're I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay that.
I was in Ipswich showing a home at Ipswich Country Club, and a couple came in from Andover. Yeah. And that was our prime market. We always got people from Andover, North Andover, Topsfield, Boxford. And I said to them, they said, where do you live? Do you live at the club? I said, no, I'm a member, but I live in Newburyport. And they said, oh, we gave up on Newburyport. Yeah. It's ridiculous. What we're giving up for what we're getting, we're not willing to make that trade. And it's pretty interesting, because it used to be, well, the lifestyle is worth it. Well, lifestyle was worth it at 1.5, but is it worth it at 2.5? Yeah.
And not to say that they aren't worth it, but those new
they're selling, so clearly they're.
But those new townhouses on the corner of High and State Street, maybe it's just a native, but $2.9 million for a townhouse in Newburyport that you share walls with on the busiest corner in Newburyport is a little hard for me to swallow.
We'll see.
I'm sure they're going to be gorgeous. There's no doubt in my mind. They have an amazing interior designer that is working with them. So she has great taste. They'll be fabulous, but still, are they worth? I don't know that they are.
So you know what a friend of mine used to say: seller sets the price, buyer sets the value.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say that on the lower end of the spectrum, properties are still crazy. There's
in
still
Newburyport.
No.
Well, in Newburyport there aren't any, and when they are,
right.
But an interesting factoid about that: there were 2 homes that came on the market in the last 3 weeks that were the typical builder fixer-uppers in Newburyport. Greek Revival, 1860s homes. Yeah. I thought they would have multiple offers.
Nope.
I called both agents and found out one an end user bought and is bringing a builder in. Mm-hmm. And the other one, a builder negotiated hard and is not paying full price.
I wonder who that is.
I know, but I can't
I
say.
have a feeling.
Anyway, so, but it's selling, but it's not breaking the price.
Right, because
even the way Federal Street did last year.
I mean, look at Ashland, right? Mm-hmm. I thought for sure that house would go. It was so cute. I loved that house, and it sat on the market for months.
I know.
And the price didn't seem unreasonable to me.
$950, right?
Generally, yeah. But in the lower end or the median price point, the 7s, the 6s, the 7s, I will tell you that my buyers are having a hell of a time.
I know.
So
well, let's get to that. I want to skip down and just hit our other towns. Amesbury continues to be a fabulous market.
Yes.
And to me, I'm comparing it like to Ridgewood and Bushwick in New York, where they were working class areas, safe but working class, and now they're super hip, and that is what's happening here. It really is.
Yeah.
Amesbury is a hot spot. It's great for young families. As far as Amesbury goes, I think that people that are looking for a fun, walkable downtown, it's one of the only ones on the North Shore where
where you can actually
afford a house. Yeah. So average sale price $739,000.
When we started doing these market reports, it was in the 5s.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Price per square foot, $386 a square foot is the average.
And I can tell you, as someone who's made multiple offers on the behalf of clients in Amesbury, almost
not easy.
Every single one of them has multiple offers for the most part. My clients finally with FHA went under contract today, yay, in Amesbury, and that's where they wanted to be. And I was like, I don't know, you might end up in Haverhill. And she's like, I will not end up in Haverhill. And when I called her to tell her the good news today, she goes, I just want to say I was right. It's Amesbury. And I was like, fair enough.
So days to offer are 18?
Yeah, but I would say that takes into account something that's sitting for longer, because if you look at most listings that are like under 800,000 in Amesbury, you're looking at like 4
Well, I think
days to offer.
The other thing that happens frequently is if there's new construction, they'll start marketing it before it's out on the ground.
Yeah.
And that skews the numbers.
I don't know that there's any in Amesbury right now, single family new construction.
Not single family condos.
Yeah.
So what about Merrimac? What do you think about Merrimac?
I mean,
sleepy little Merrimac.
Not a lot of stuff is coming on the market there, but I can tell you I've also been looking there with the same client, and like Liz Smith had one that went on last week. Open house canceled, offer accepted after a Thursday open house.
You had the same thing in Salisbury?
I had the same thing in Salisbury, because that house had a hard time selling the first time. And I think that the sellers just wanted more than the prices kept up to what they wanted, and we just got too good of an offer, and they were like, we have to take it. It had no contingency,
That makes sense.
But I am seeing a lot of listings right now that say open house canceled, offer accepted, and
I think that's what part of it is, that we as agents are now saying, where we used to always set a deadline, offers by Monday at 3 p.m. Now we're saying, well, maybe we're shooting ourselves in the foot, and maybe what we need to do is feel how the market is. How many calls am I getting? If I put it on Wednesday and I'm playing an open house for Sunday, if I'm getting killed, I'm not going to put an offer deadline. I'm getting a ton, and then it's up to the seller.
I think that we would have seen multiple offers. I still don't think we probably would have gotten as good an offer. So it's still, and at the end of the day, it was more money than the sellers wanted to get. So it worked out for them. But
the numbers in Salisbury, so our average sale is $704.
Yeah, that's about
Price
right.
per square foot is $427, which is pretty high compared to Amesbury and Merrimac. Newbury, little old Newbury, is there's always the problem with Newbury and West Newbury.
Switching over to buyers.
Yep. Yes.
It's interesting. So since the talk of the tariffs started,
it's been a curve, that's for sure.
So before that, it was like, so I have some clients that are looking in Metro Boston, so like Wakefield, Woburn, Reading, anything off of like 93, essentially, North Andover. Every house that they have bid on has had multiple offers. One of them had 37 offers. We were 16th in position.
That's encouraging.
It was on for $725. It closed at $905. 0.07 or something insane like that. And then another one a couple weeks ago, there were 30 offers, and Andover, North Andover is still very competitive. But I have seen that it seems like there's less buyers out there right now than there were a month ago. What do you expect to see this summer? Do you expect there to be, a lot of listings? Do you expect it to be seasonal and quiet? Like, what are you seeing?
I think that the spring market didn't really happen the way it usually does.
Yes.
Because of all the market uncertainties. And so I'm feeling like, I know we have a bunch of listings.
Yeah, a bunch.
And this is a very self-centered thing to say, but I always like to work a lot in the spring and then do closings in the summer.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen that way.
Be outside and enjoying the sunshine. That's not going to happen. We're going to be busy all summer.
I think so too.
I think that the activity, people are more cautious.
Yeah.
I think some things that weren't accepted before, like home sale contingencies and,
might, depending on the property.
Yeah, the high end, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about home sale contingencies. I've written 3 offers in the last month with home sale contingencies.
But the house stays on the market, right?
It's still there.
Yeah,
it's still there.
So, in terms of buyers, I've had, I think, about 5 new buyer conversations in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. And I think I had 3 in the first 4 months of the year, which is unusual for me, very slow. So I have all these buyers coming out of the woodwork like, we're ready to buy. And so I feel like summer is going to be quite busy.
Yep.
We'll see you on the next one. Maybe not in 6 months this time.